off by just giving a shout out to both Toronto, to Canada, all over
Mhm.
Canada. I've been all over Winnipeg, everywhere. And I want to give a shout out to Chicago, which I think for me, so far as cities go, architecturally is beyond gorgeous, especially if you take that boat ride around. Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God. It's insane.
That's
Out
awesome.
I
there.
did
I
it.
Yeah.
gotta
I
go
did
to
it
I
with
gotta go to
Frank
New York
Vincent.
soon. I haven't been.
What?
I haven't been to New York. I want to eventually go there. That'd be that's one that's on my bucket list for sure.
Oh God, yeah. Like I mean, the architecture in the buildings are just stunning. And I did it with Frank Vincent. Frank Vincent and I filmed a movie there. And would always call me up and go, Kathy, sweetie baby, I got something for you.
Yeah.
And he had this job. I played his girlfriend in this movie, and we were in Chicago for uh I want to say like about a month and a half, but he was there for months. I had so much fun in Chicago. Chicago is a class act.
Yeah, and that's why we're excited because Gino. So this mob adjacent story, it talks about the mob in Chicago and how they were adjacent to the mob, these two young boys, and growing around like around that lifestyle, you know. And Gino's filming a project, and I feel like it's awesome because it could shed light on the city a little bit, you know, because there's not as many films about Chicago. I know obviously there's Capone, but there's not a lot of films in Chicago more, you know, and that's where I like Gino, and I feel like he's helping out with that. And yeah, the architecture is beautiful. We're proud to be proud to be Chicago Italians, you know.
Oh my God, sure.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a big and I got to tell you, I have one of the best Italian meals there too. We
Yeah.
went out to eat, and being with the people that live there, they knew where to go. We didn't do any touristy, restaurants. We went to the Little Italy there, and I stayed on in the Four Seasons on the water on
Oh,
the
that's
loop.
beautiful there. Yeah.
And oh my God. And then I filmed, funny enough, I also filmed The Miracle on 34th Street in Chicago.
Oh
Oh
wow.
wow.
Yeah, it's like a Bronx Tale we filmed in Queens, and The Miracle on 34th Street we filmed in Chicago.
Wow.
And I
That's so cool.
loved it.
Yeah.
That's so cool. It's interesting you bring up Frank Vincent too, because he's been in so many amazing mafia movies and shows. Obviously, Sopranos, Casino, Goodfellas, Raging Bull, to everything. I think what was that other film he did too? It was the poster. He has like a Tommy gun. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, that's the one I did with him. I
Oh, that's
played,
the one. That's the one, right? Yes, that's the
yeah,
one. Okay.
Chicago Overcoat.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So in I don't know, we sadly lost him. You know, it would have been great if he was still around to continue doing mob movies and shows because he's just so like fierce and compelling to watch. It would have been great to see him in Alto Nights. So that's actually what wanted to bring up to you. If imagine he was in this movie with you guys, you know, you, De Niro, and everybody, that would have been amazing.
I know. You know he passed away though, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, 2016 he passed away. Yeah.
Oh man. And
Yeah.
wow, you know the year too. I got to
Yeah.
tell you, to me, that was a big loss. I love Frank Vincent. Frank Vincent was really like a father to me, and he really looked out for me. Everything he did, he always tried to find a way to include me, and I'll never forget him for that.
Yeah. No, and it's yeah, it's sad when we lose people, especially that we're close with. But not even that they're talented actors that they could have done so much more film, you know. But it's
Oh,
great that obviously I know with Alto Nights, there's still iconic. For example, Barry Levinson, such an iconic director. We still have him around and working around someone like him. I actually, it's funny. He did Rain Man, Good Morning Vietnam, Bugsy, so many other amazing films. But you got to work with him on on a project called The Wizard of Lies. That was a project you worked with him
yeah,
before.
that was on HBO. De Niro played Bernie Madoff, and I played Eleanor Squillieri, who was Bernie Madoff's like left arm. Like she did everything for him. She was the secretary, and her office was right next to his office, and they were very close. So I play, and Barry, the funny thing is, Barry directed that. Sam Levinson wrote some of that. I don't know if he wrote the whole thing, co-wrote it or wrote it. And then I went on to work with Barry and Bob in the Alto Nights, and I worked with Sam Levinson on Euphoria,
Gloria. That's
which is
amazing.
great.
Yeah, and what about Barry and his directing style stands out to you? Because obviously you've worked with so many iconic people. What about him do you think makes him one of the greats?
Uh, I think that he trusts whoever he hires. So the process, you cast it, you do whatever you got to do, you get your money, you get your film. But Barry, once he cast, it's a trust thing that goes on. And I think he knows who he cast, why he cast them, and what they're bringing to the table. He just trusts. So when you know that a director has trust in you, you are more comfortable. Honestly, you are way more comfortable, and your guard is down, you're relaxed, and that's when the good stuff happens. And he trusts enough to also, which there's a lot of ad-libbing in that movie. I ad-libbed the whole court scene. It's a lot of the dialogue that the great Nick Pileggi, let's talk about the writing. Nick Pileggi wrote, but I also ad-libbed that scene. I ad-libbed in the restaurant, that whole scene. I ad-libbed on the bed when I say his fat effing sausage fingers. I ad-libbed that scene. He just let me roll and Nick, being the good writer and confident writer that he is, he was like, go ahead, go. You're making it better. That's when you're with the greats that are not insecure and they're confident enough, to really, really collab, where
Yes.
they let the actor bring their thing to it and they let the actor run with it. And if it just flows.
Yeah, and speaking of that, tell us a little bit about your relationship with Robert De Niro, because you've done a few different projects now, spanning over 30 years. I'm sure you guys built up a level of comfort. How is it working with him? What's it like working with him? I mean, he's one of the greats. Just curious your relationship.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, it gets better and better every time I work with him. Like I know that he's very comfortable with me, and you know, he's very sweet in, like, when I came in for The Irishman, when I came in for that, when I came in for um uh The Wizard of Lies, Bob always likes to tell me, which I think is so sweet. He's like, I recommended you. I told Barry, we should get Kathrine in. And I just melt because it's so important, one, to be liked in this business. That's how you continue to work. If you're a mother effer, it stops. Like, you don't go any further because the word gets around. It's a very small world in this acting world. And when you're liked, people recommend you and they pass it on. And just like my relationship with Bob, he really does genuinely like me. And I know him for all these years now, and he trusts me and he feels really comfortable with me. And I think that's why I continue to work with him, because there's a genuine, you know, he just really honestly and genuinely just likes me as a person. And I said it in an interview we just did for Alto Nights. I said, Bob, I just feel we did Andy Cohen podcast, and I said, I just feel like Bob is like family to me now. Like I feel like I'm working with a family member, and I'm so comfortable. And that court scene when I go, look at you, you're a clown, you're this, you're that, and I'm like giving it to him. I don't think a lot of women, another actress, would feel comfortable enough to even do that. They'd be like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I could do. And we were just laughing because it was funny. And I felt comfortable enough to like go there with him. And I think that takes a lot of years of knowing somebody and, you know, having a real genuine relationship.
100%. Yeah, I feel like loyalty is tough nowadays, and working with De Niro, like that's cool to have that relationship. And I know you're very loyal to people in the industry, like with Chaz and things like that. So I feel like you built up, loyalty, which is, one of our values. You always got to be loyal to people who, you know what I mean, help you out. So I really respect that.
Well, and you got to give back too. I mean, I'm always helping people. Anytime I get a job, every time. the first thing I do, and like I mean this, the first thing I do is when I look at the script, any show I'm on, any series I've done, whether it be, all through the Sopranos, I was getting people on, even if I said, listen, I'll take your headshot, I'll give it to them. What happens after that is out of my control, but I will help and facilitate moving it forward. And some people, I got them extra work, if they hadn't done a lot of work, just to get their foot in the door. And I did it on every single, even now, Godfather of Harlem, I do it. Um, almost everything that I work on, I try to get somebody in. If I read the script and go, oh my God, this would be good. Immediately, I think of all my friends. And I think of how can I help somebody also who's not where they are yet. Oh, maybe I could get them an extra. This is gonna be a big extra scene. My friend who's like, trying to make it. And I'll like call the extras casting all the time and say, hey, I got like 5 friends. Because extra work you can get people, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I'm always doing that. And I feel like that's why I've been blessed, because I'm constantly, trying to give back. And I'm not saying it in a bragging way. I'm saying it in just a factual way on what's important in this business and any business. You should always help people. You should always be wanting to help and give back no matter what business you're in. But in this business in particular, I think that's why it always comes back to me some way or another, because, I don't want to travel alone. I like helping people along the way.
Yeah, no, it's true, and I've noticed it too. Like, starting out as an actor myself, right? Like, there's a lot of gatekeeping in this business, and especially you're trying to help people trying to get to where they need to be, and there's a lot of people that, like, think about it, Kathrine. You've been in the business for so long, you're very successful, and it's like there's people who are nowhere near that, and they think they're, big shit, or they feel like they're too big to help somebody.
They're ahead
When
of themselves.
yeah, and I don't know. Again, it's hard enough to just get an audition, right? Imagine like actually landing the role. Like the whole people don't understand the process of getting in a project. Like, you know what I mean? Even for a Bronx Tale, I know you mentioned like on our past interview that ULB was it 2,000 women. So it's like it's not a joke, this thing. People have to
Yeah.
understand that.
It's not an easy, it's not for the faint at heart, I'll tell you that much. Being an actor, especially today with all this AI and the way our business is going, it is, first of all, right now, it's like nothing going on, especially with the temperature, what's going on around the world. I think it's affecting every business, certainly affecting our business, the movie business. Um, it's very hard. It's a very hard. I wouldn't recommend anybody do it unless they just absolutely have to. They realize where the business is, how hard it's going to be, and accept that for the rest of their life. I'll say, okay, sign up. But if you're not going to be able to hack, not making money, living hand to mouth, being a real struggling actor, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. It's just very hard. I only recommend to do it if you absolutely have to do it or you'll die.
Yeah,
And
no,
I
I
say,
totally
well,
That's
then you
bad.
gotta live, so do it. But have a
exactly.
side job for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's so true. And what's also interesting, Catherine, I know we're talking about also Alto Nights, and obviously you're in Godfather of Harlem. I know there's also a new show that's just out right now with Tom Hardy, Pierce Brosnan, and Helen Mirren called Mobland. There's so many, like I feel like mafia stories, people to this day still love it, and there's still new projects, great projects coming out. And obviously we've seen different takes. For example, The Godfather showed the rise of like Michael Corleone, someone who didn't want to be a part of that life, but ended up taking over the family. And then, The Sopranos gave us something new with a mobster going to therapy, which was interesting and showed emotional struggles. Why do you think audience still love these stories so much to this day, even though we know these characters are often doing terrible things?
I think everybody loves the rebel. I think everybody loves the person who dances to the beat of their own drum and risk takers. They don't care about the government. They're crooks. I mean, obviously, and I think anything going against the system, people love that because remember in the Bronx Tale, he says the working man's a sucker. Sonny was right. I think that the working Joe is breaking his ass every day, looks up at the mob guy and goes, I want to do that. They're like movie stars. They make money, they smell good, they look good, they skip through life. You always got to look behind one shoulder, but in movies they glamorize it. In real life, it is not like that. And no, nor am I recommending anybody join the mafia. I'm just saying, in movies, they are glamorized. They are all good looking. The leading man is always good looking. I mean, now you're talking about Tom Hardy. Look at this. I mean, Pierce Bronson. I want to know where the Italian is in this. So,
That's a good thing. I
where's
don't
the
know.
one Italian in this?
That's
Uh,
why at first I
I
saw it,
guess
I was
there's
like, wait,
all,
yeah.
but in all fairness, I guess there's the Russian mob, there's the, Spanish mob, Mexican mob, whatever, Italian mob. I guess there's the mob also in the UK, the Brits.
Oh yeah, well even look at like Peaky Blinders I think showed a little bit about that, like
Yeah,
that type of, that life. Even Boardwalk Empire, that was with was Al Capone, but that was like a long, yeah. I was getting confused. I always get Boardwalk Empire and Peaky Blinders confused. It's like a similar era, like the 20s I think, right? So,
right.
yeah.
True.
Except New York and UK.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that you said it's kind of like going against the grain. And but that's why I like your characters like in Bronx Tale and in The Sopranos, because you're kind of going against the grain by not being in the mob. Can you tell me a little bit about that and just kind of I feel like you always play like a street smart Italian American woman, and can you draw a little bit on your background and how you play those roles so well and kind of the why fight so hard to not be in the mafia?
I mean, when we had that Sopranos reunion, um, David Chase had said, you were considered the voice of reason in the show. I was the voice of reason. I think a Bronx Tale, um, not a Bronx Tale. What was the other one you just said? I'm getting confused with the
The
things.
Sopranos.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
And then the other one was something else I did where it was against it. Was it?
Oh, well, it was a Bronx
I'm
Tale.
forgetting my own shit.
It was a Bronx Tale you were against. The Sopranos. Um,
Well, I know Bronx Hill, I did say let's keep the money.
yeah, well, think about Lorenzo. Maybe we should keep it. We should think about it. Come on,
And she's no
Lorenzo.
dummy. Mama didn't raise no fool. No, I think on Sopranos, that's what she was. She was the voice of reason.
Yeah.
I also think Charmaine Bucco, my character on The Sopranos, was somewhat misunderstood. Um, and in my own background, I always had my own backstory of why I didn't like Tony. And, I had that episode where I tell Edie Falco I slept with Tony, right? That's when I dropped the bomb and it wasn't for me. You could have him. And I always, in my own backstory, to keep me going. And because I didn't like Tony, my character doesn't like Tony. She's hard on Tony. And I always wanted to like Tony. As Catherine, I was like, oh, why do I gotta not like him? Everybody else gets to hang out with him and be buddy buddy, and I gotta friggin', every time I see James, I gotta like be screaming at him, yelling at him. But I gave myself the fact that when I say to her, my own backstory was I did it and it wasn't for me. We had a fling. The truth is, I did it and he never called me again. I was almost like his one night stand. And while you were away, I not only betrayed our friendship in my mind, but I got screwed because I didn't win your guy over. He left me once you came back. So that was my running theme to keep my, you
Yeah.
know,
Distance.
with for him. It wasn't just about the mob. It was a personal vendetta
Yeah.
because I made that backstory that Tony left me that summer.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah, you know what's crazy too, Catherine? It's like, with Artie, for example. Obviously, John Ventimiglia, a great actor. Artie is just one of those characters that it's funny how he survived the whole show, right? Obviously, being so close to Tony, Because there was the time, remember he bet up Benny Fazio, and he got lucky because Benny was gonna kill him that time.
Yes.
Yeah, there was different, multiple times, but it's crazy how like you were the voice of reason in that show, and a lot of people looked at Charmaine as like a bitch, or like oh whatever,
Yeah,
like look what she's doing.
misunderstood.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? It's like people are defending Tony and these bad guys. People are like, it's funny. I always felt like Artie never really appreciated Charmaine and like what she stood for, and it's like, and people always look at Charmaine like, oh yeah, she's so hard on Artie. It's like, guys, are you crazy? Artie's the one really kind of going with Tony and doing things that he shouldn't. Even liking Adriana, he almost sacrificed everything good that he had, and yet we still were like rooting for them.
Sticking up for the bad guy. Well, what does Tony Montana say? He says, uh, you need people like me.
I mean, people like point your finger and say that's the
Look at
bad
the
guy.
bad guy. You need people like me. Well, everybody's always rooting. He's true. We need people. We need the bad guy. Why do people like the villains? Some people like the villains. In like the DC Marvel movies, they root for the villain. They don't want Batman to win. They don't want, whatever other, Marvel superheroes there are. Some people like the bad guy, you know? You
It's
need
true.
people like them.
It's true, yeah.
Do you ever feel
But
like in Hollywood it focuses a little bit too much on the mob stories? Is there anything you'd like to see being made or filmed that, think sheds light on Italians or Italian American story a little
yes,
bit differently?
100%. I would love to see somebody iconic like a Leonardo da Vinci film. I'd like to see like any iconic, great Italian icon that made a big difference in the history, the builders
Yeah,
who built, I'd like to see a story on all the men that built the Brooklyn Bridge, the St. Patrick Cathedral, those Italian guys. What a great story that would be, a real coming to America story about the Italians that came here, the immigrants. And literally, let's go look in each, make, storylines on each, maybe choose like five leads where we look at their lives and what their families went through, what they were going through, getting paid nothing. And they were going on those scaffolds
yeah,
with no safety nets or anything like that. But look what they built. And then these Italians, what about the Italians on the Brooklyn Bridge that they fell off and left them in there?
yeah.
They left them in the cement. They kept going. Like,
Mhm.
we're going to gloss over that? Who were they? What happened to their family? The everyday, ordinary Italian, also. Maybe it doesn't always have to be an iconic person, the little guy. I don't know. I feel like there's not enough films besides mafia films on Italians and what we brought. I mean, they did do, Versace.
Cabrini was really
That's
good too. If you've seen the Cabrini film, that one
the
was awesome.
Company film.
Yeah.
But look how far and few in between there are.
Hmm.
There's so many great Italian. I mean, they did who's the racer? Mario Andretti? Didn't they do
Hmm.
man wasn't that the racer? The race car
Yeah,
driver?
Mario Andretti, yeah.
Yeah, and who played him? Adam Driver? Nah.
Yeah, I get you.
Well, they're making a movie called Nonnas actually. It's with Vince Vaughn, Susan
I
Sarandon.
know. They just dropped the trailer.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty good. It looks pretty
Yeah,
funny.
that's cute. That's cute with the nonas and the cooking. Um, I mean, yeah, that's gonna be a good one. I actually had a meeting with that director, and he wanted me to play Drea Di Matteo's role. Um, and that's another story for another time, but the movie looks really, 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 really good. I like the trailer a lot. I think it looks like it could be really cute. I hope it does well.
Yeah, it
And
looks like it will for sure.
what about you guys? So with Hardcore Italians, when did you start it?
We started it a long time ago. So we started out with the social media page in 2010. So it's been a long time. And it was just kind of like we were posting on social media for fun and it just kept growing and growing. And then, when I graduated college, I took it over full time. And then, turned it into more of a business, but it started a long time ago.
What is the business? What is the business?
So mainly we're apparel, Italian American apparel. We sent you a box too. It says it should get to you on Monday. But yeah, t-shirts, hoodies, things like that.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
so apparel. So did that take off? It took off and then you threw all your college expertise out the window?
Yeah, I don't basically I feel like in college I was always working on it on the side, and then it just kept growing and growing. And then, when I graduated college, I kind of was like, if I'm gonna try turn this into a business, I should do it now while I'm young, and then kind of reinvested all the money. And, for me, my grandparents came from Calabria and they had nothing. They worked hard, sacrificed everything they, had for us. And, I just really, to your point with like passion, I worked a few other jobs and I just kind of didn't like what I was doing. And I just was like, I'm passionate about keeping the spirit of them going because like otherwise it goes to waste, and that's why like super proud to be Italian and just want to pass it along and, hopefully keep what they, the values and their culture alive through the page and through the clothing. And, it means a lot to me.
And the clothing, you're doing really well with that. It became a full-blown blow up business. You do great.
Yeah. Yeah, it does real well, knock on wood. But
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
actually,
God,
Mike, you've done some good collabs too. You've done some collabs with a lot of people as well. I think Anthony Rodia is one of them too, right?
yeah, yeah, we do collabs with people all the time, Yeah, no, it's
what do you
been
mean collabs? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so like we could, we partner up with people and, we could do like a line of merch for them, and sell it on the website. And then, they can earn a commission on the products or whatever. So yeah, we're trying to get more into it this year a little bit, because we used to ship all the orders ourselves. Now we like kind of delegated that out. So now we're focused more on the marketing of it and stuff. But yeah, you know.
Wow.
Mhm.
So where are you in Chicago?
Uh,
Chicago. I can't say it.
oh
Chicago.
How
my
do you
God.
do it?
I
Say
always tease Mike. I
Chicago.
always tease Mike. I'm always like Chicago.
Yeah, he always teases me
Chicago.
about that. I'm in the suburbs. I'm a little bit like I'm not downtown, but a little bit, in like the southwest.
Are you near the Loop? That's how I know everything. The Loop. That's where I stayed.
Yeah, about 25 minutes maybe. I mean, depending on traffic. I mean, it's either 3 hours or 25 minutes, but
Right here too.
yeah, yeah,
Mike,
exactly.
isn't it? It's Woodbridge, Illinois. You're in, right? Woodbridge. Is that what it's called?
Woodridge.
A wood ridge. We have a wood bridge. We have a wood bridge here.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like right there basically.
Mhm.
Are you in Toronto?
Yeah, I'm in like in the suburbs of Toronto. Yeah, it's do you know where Canada's Wonderland is? That theme park?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I'm like a 5 minute walk. I can walk there, but it's if you like search up Woodbridge or Vaughan, that's where all the Italians are. It's literally such an Italian. Yeah, there's an actual little area called Market Lane. That's literally where all the nonnies are. They're all there. So
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice. I like it's what that's why I like working with Mike, like preserving the Italian culture. I feel like it's slowly fading off with like obviously with my generation. I can't speak for Mike 'cause I'm not sure exactly the traditions he does, but for me, like I don't do the tomato sauce every year anymore. Like I don't know. I gotta get more into that stuff because for my kids, I want them to speak Italian. I want them to be invested in the culture because I don't know, maybe we're just lazy, my generation. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I when I was there, both Chicago and Canada, I got to tell you, really, besides New York, my biggest fans are in Chicago and Canada. I did signings there. I did some signings there. In one of the places I did it in Chicago, me and Frank Vincent did a signing.
Mhm.
And he goes, "Oh, let's do this signing." While we were working there, they want us to do a signing. And um I don't know if we did it with, I forgot what we were signing. I think it was the Chicago Overcoat poster. So, I forgot what we did. We did it in this gorgeous hotel lobby. And we did it, it came out of nowhere so quick. And I said to Frank, I go, Frank, we're doing this quick. They didn't announce it. I love you. I want to do it. But do you think people are going to show up? Because they asked me, say, like on a Monday, and we were doing it on a Friday. I'm like, would they just throw this together and decide? Like, you got to let it, you got to announce it. It's got to be in the paper. I woke up, I came down, I went to the lobby, and I got to the hotel, and the line was in the street. And I go, what
Wow.
the hell's going on here? What the hell's going on here? It was for me and Frank. I said, oh my God. It was so much fun. We had so much fun with these people in Chicago. Everybody was bringing Frank cigars. I mean,
I
I'm not
love it.
joking. We signed all day till like the wee out. Like it was that we took a break, and then they brought me. I said, this hotel was famous for their Bloody Mary, and I love a good Bloody Mary with like all the stuff in it.
Me
They kept
too.
bringing me Bloody Marys. By the end of the day, I was bombed.
Did it have the shrimp, the olive, the whole fixings?
Everything. I had
Beautiful.
so much fun. You
It's
have
awesome.
no idea. My memories in Chicago were the best.
Yeah, I
And
hear that
I
all the
love,
time. Like people say Chicago, like, or everyone I talk to from New York who comes to Chicago, they always say like we welcome them with open arms and stuff like that. Do you notice any difference between Toronto Italians, Canadians, or Chicago Italians, Toronto Italians, New York Italians? Are we all the same for the most part, you think?
I
I
think,
can name a few things, but I'll let Catherine do it.
wait, what?
I said I have a few things, but I'll let you say it, Catherine.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing. Between Little Italy in Toronto and Little Italy in Chicago and Little Italy here, I want to say that it's well, they each got their own vibe, right? Different, a little different, right? Of
Yeah.
course. But I want to say that the food in Toronto and the food in I had some amazing meals in Chicago in the their Little Italy, I think was just as good as New York. And New York Little Italy it's commercialized now. It's still great, and there's some restaurants that all the locals know where to go. But I think that the food it all holds up in each Little Italy. It's all good.
Yeah. No, same with
Yeah,
the Little Italy in Chicago. It's kind of dispersed now. It's not the same as it was like years ago, you know? So,
yeah. The only thing I was gonna say was about, and I think Mike, I've kind of made fun of you with this before, the Chicago deep dish. That's the only thing I have to say about it. Other than that, I've never been, but I always hear about the Chicago deep dish. It looks amazing, dude. I gotta say, but I don't know if my stomach can handle all that cheese. I'm just being completely honest. I don't know. I
Yeah,
think I.
I know. It's a big, I had it. I go back to thin. I like a thin crust pizza.
yeah.
Yeah,
All the Italians in Chicago like it thin, maybe deep dish once in a while, Blue Moon, but most people like it thin. So, yeah.
But now you
yeah.
guys, um, so you haven't been to Chicago yet, Adam?
I haven't been, no, but
You
I
haven't
want to go
gone to
soon.
Toronto? Why aren't you guys getting together?
No, I've
We
gone to
gotta do so.
Toronto.
Hey,
I
it's
have a
just
bunch of family from Toronto. It's the best out there. They go Carcusa in the backyard. They do they make sopressata. They do it all out there.
I
Yeah,
know.
I
actually, Mike.
love
I think weren't
Toronto.
you weren't you supposed to come? Was it last summer, or you're gonna come this summer? I forgot what you were saying. You're gonna come.
Yeah,
You were.
I was supposed to go last summer, but we ended up not doing it. But I'll definitely be back there again. I love Toronto. I feel like they're more Italian than we are in America for sure in Toronto.
No,
Like
it's all just different, man. At the end of the day, like the way I look at it is like it's not about who's more and who's less. As long as you're being Italian and you're being authentic to yourself and you're just preserving the culture, man, I think that's all that matters. Because yeah, listen, it's hard to compare because in the States, a lot of the Italians are like fourth, fifth, sixth generation Italian. Toronto, it's like my parents were born in Italy and they came here off the boat.
exactly,
Like, so it's like
exactly.
we're, because obviously Canada's obviously a new, everyone immigrated in like the 50s and 60s, right?
Yeah, they all speak it still.
It's all, yeah, like my grandparents barely speak English. They still call me Adamo. They don't even call me Adam. So there you go. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. But actually, Catherine, before we end off, I know you mentioned you have a live luxury show in Texas that you wanted to plug.
Oh my God. This
Yeah, tell
needs
us a
to
bit
be
about that.
this needs to be in this Monday. Oh wait, when is this airing?
We'll have it
Oh,
next week. All right,
probably
it's
next week.
Monday already.
But I can,
Oh, after the fact.
I can make a clip. We can make a clip about it. I'll make it even
Yeah,
Okay,
today.
let's do a quick clip of it. Like do a little clip of us, quick clip, like a little tease trailer for it.
yeah,
And then
do it.
got it.
Yeah.
okay, so Monday the 14th between 7 and 11, I'm gonna be on the Whatnot app. It's if you don't have it, get it. It's like a mall on an app. It's all these shoppers. It's like a little mini mall within an app. and I'm gonna be doing Don's Luxury Shop, and it's high-end luxury handbags and other stuff. They're giving thousands of dollars worth of prizes and bags away. And I'm flying to Chicago Sunday night for this to do it Monday. And then I'm working with Joe Hollywood. He's the biggest sports trading cards seller on the Whatnot app.
Awesome. All right. I hope people will check that out. That's awesome.
I better see you two in that room.
100%. What time is it?
Yeah,
What
I'll
time is it
join.
again? Monday, what time?
Monday between 7 and 11, even if you pop in for a little bit.
You
Okay.
got it. I'll make sure. I'm
Yeah, I
always on
have the
Instagram
app. I
anyways.
kind of want to see
And
how
I got the
I haven't
app.
even opened it yet. I want to see how it works, so that'll be perfect.
Yes, Don's Luxury Shop. And I'm going to do a post today. I have to do it. And it's going to have all the information on there.
Yeah, we'll give it a
We'll
share on
definitely,
hardcore.
And
yeah,
guess what? I want to come to Chicago, and Adam will come too, and we'll all do like an event. We'll get put our minds together, and we'll do like a hardcore Italians event, and we'll collab with my art maybe on a t-shirt, or we'll do one of like a Bronx Tale t-shirt with like the mother and Bob on the
I'd
t-shirt, or
love to do that.
something. We'll do something, or uh I just got my poster for the Alto Nights, and Bob and Barry signed it.
oh, wow. That's awesome.
So, and I was so excited because my name's on the poster.
Yeah.
My face ain't, but my name is. So we
That,
could do
that's
like
it.
an Alto Nights, maybe sweatshirt or a Bronx Tales, but we could do something.
Oh,
We'll
that'd be
Yeah, well,
awesome.
that's why it's good that we connect. I'm glad we all got to do this today too. We definitely want to collab with you, Catherine. You're awesome. Just the energy you bring, like you're such
But
a
I
fun.
can't collab if Adam don't fly too to
I,
Chicago.
hey, if you're gonna, Catherine, next time
We
you
gotta meet in
go,
Chicago.
Chicago. Oh,
Yeah, you
yeah,
gotta come. Yeah.
definitely. I'll definitely go. If you're gonna be there too, I'll definitely make my
No, we
way.
should
Let's
And
do
definitely do that though.
something.
I love that idea. That's genius. Let's do it.
Let's do it this summer. We're gonna do a hardcore Italians, uh, Kathrine Narducci and whoever else. We'll
Let's
do a
get we'll
nice
get Gino to
event in
come. Gino will
Chicago.
come.
yeah, we'll do it up. We'll do it up real good. And I think yeah, like Mike, this summer I'll fly out. I'm not even joking. If we're gonna do this, I'll fly out. I promise.
100%.
You know. And Catherine, before one more thing before we end off too. I know Mike mentioned about Gino and everything. People might not know is that you also directed a film with Gino called Dante's World, and people need to
That
check it
little
out.
film, it was an artistic film.
But still, the fact that you're doing that, like to be an actor is already one thing, and then to dabble in directing as well. Gino, when I spoke, because I'm also friends with Gino too, and he said great things about it, and he said you have such an eye for it. So I want people to know that you, along with the acting and the art and everything you do, that you do directing as well, and I think it's amazing. And Catherine, just want to thank you just for coming on today and talking about
I wish I
everything.
could hug
You're the
you
best.
two.
I know, I know. But
Right.
at least in this day and age, we could do these things virtually.
I'm gonna
Imagine it.
virtual hug. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
That's it. That's it. Both cheeks, kissing both cheeks. Thank you so much, Kath. You're the best.
Thanks.
You're the
Yeah.
best. Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks so
We'll do
much,
All
it, guys.
right.
We're
Catherine.
gonna plan some stuff. We're gonna plan some stuff. Seriously.
No, let's do it. Let's do it. We should do it in the summer. I want to do it like July. I want to come to Chicago.
Yeah, Mike. Isn't that what Taylor
I'll
Swift
be in
Fest is?
Italy in July for 2 weeks, but
All right, we'll do it in
end of
August.
July. Yeah, August would be
Let's do
perfect.
it in August. Let's talk about it. Let's make the t-shirts for everybody. They'll be so excited. I'll hand sign them.
Oh my God, yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm
Mike,
in.
can we do
Let's follow
we'll
up.
do a group chat? Maybe Catherine, we'll do a group chat maybe or something, or we'll figure it
Yes,
out.
we should do a t-shirt that says "Don't squeeze the quail."
Don't squeeze the quail.
Oh man, we
And
could.
that when I tell Artie stop squeezing the quail,
Yeah, remember what was it?
he's
Silvio
squeezing
said.
the quail.
Yeah, and then when Silvio too, when he goes like, Artie, I think I saw this thing taking a shit on the side of the road. Can I get
Hey,
AIDS
Catherine,
for beating this? Remember
if you
Polly?
give me
Oh,
any quotes
classic.
or ideas like that, we could like start mocking stuff up and stuff. Let me know.
Yes. Well, listen, I got a slew of I got a whole valise case of Italian movies that we could do things from.
Perfect. Yeah, 1000%. People love it. People love anything we put related to the Sopranos up or anything. People just love it. So
Yeah, we'll do something either from The Sopranos or we'll do something from a Bronx Tale, the two
Thousand
icons.
percent.
Sure.
We could do something from those. Whatever floats their boat.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
down. We're
both for
down for
sure.
that.
I'd love to do that. So,
Hey, we'll do nice big signing.
Yes, can't wait. And we'll be in touch. We'll
Maybe
make
we'll
sure.
make some cat trucker hats.
yeah,
Yes.
100%. We could do anything like that. We could do it all. Signing too would be huge. People would love that, you know?
Yes, I'll come do a big signing.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right.
And
Well, perfect, Catherine. We'll be in touch and we'll make sure we get all this stuff uh going and yeah, can't wait.
yeah, thank you,
Ciao,
Catherine.
ciao, Bella. Thank you. Woo!